My entire life's mission is to make sure that women are emotionally, spiritually, and physically, financially within themselves. Was married to an amazing guy, got divorced. He went above and beyond helping me, and now the time is up.
She would pack that for me for lunch with like rice and meat, and I loved it, right? But when I'm coming to school, everyone's like, ew, what's that in your lunchbox? It smells. I became very insecure about it, and all I wanted when I would come home, I said, Mom, I said, buy me Lunchables. Like, I want to have Lunchables. And she's like, that's not food. Like, that's not real food. They don't know anything. They don't know how to pay their bills. They don't know where their husband's assets are. And it's just a mess. It just becomes a mess.
Have you raised a child? Have you raised capital? Have you helped a dying dog while having to look good, while having to entertain? I didn't really feel like I should also know how to do that, but it ended up screwing me in the end, truly.
Posted the video, it got like 500,000 views, and I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna delete TikTok, because people were having a discourse about me in the comments, not about like what I was showing, but about me. What's wrong with her teeth, or why is her nose like this, or why is she like chewing like whatever it is, I don't know, whatever people want to point out, right? And I was like, that's not nice.
That having religion without spirituality was like having the foundation without the vessel. And then having spirituality without religion was like having the vessel without the foundation.
And this is so cringe. Like, this is weird, you know? He watched the videos, he comes back, he's like, don't delete it. This is great. Like, you should continue. Like, who cares what people are saying about you? You know who you are. I know who you are. Like, why do you care what some person on the internet has to say about you?
Danielle, I am so honored and happy to have you on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Mother, wife, business owner, social media expert at this point, I think. Who are you and why are you the way you are?
I am a content creator full-time. I'm also a mom full-time. I love my children. And I am who I am because I think of my mom. My mom had me when she was 18 years old. I don't think a lot of people know this. My mom grew up with me and I grew up with her. She was so strong. She is very strong. And she has taught me self-respect, self-awareness, and she's also taught me how to get anything that I want out of life, because she's very driven, she's very self-driven, and if you give that woman a task, she will get it done. She will not take no for an answer. And while I want to be like her in many ways, we're very different. I'm capable, but she's like capable at a different level. So I think I am who I am because of her. She has taught me a lot about being strong and about being a leader and about just taking things into my own hands.
Would you say that you were raised religious, spiritual, neither, both?
Well, we weren't raised religious because I was born in the former Soviet Union, which is now Ukraine. And at that time, we weren't really allowed to practice Judaism. We weren't really allowed to be Jewish. Well, I don't remember because I was little, but we didn't really know a lot about being Jewish until we came to the United States. So I wouldn't say that we grew up religious, but we did celebrate all the Jewish holidays and mixed with some of the Russian holidays just because that was kind of like our background. That's how we grew up, so.
Very cool. I didn't know that either.
Yeah.
You talk so much about your love for food on social.
I love food.
And it's so fun to see because most people don't know that the Jewish world, the Jewish community, there's so many different colors, backgrounds. We're all so different. I think a lot of people assume that Jewish people, for some reason, from what I'm gathering, are all just like white Americans. And I don't know why. And you really help expand and broaden people's horizon. Like, no, I'm Ukrainian. This is how we eat. And you got a lot of backlash for the food that you eat.
Yeah.
Take me through how you felt during that, but then how you felt explaining to people that this is actually really normal for my background too, because it is.
Yeah. I think it's polarizing to anyone seeing something they've never seen before and to be intimidated, right? So I think the initial reaction when you see something that doesn't really look interesting, your reaction's like, oh, ew, that looks gross, you know? I, from a very young age, experienced, I'm not gonna call it bullying, but I experienced different emotions around the things that I ate. So when we came to the United States and I started going to school, at the time my parents didn't have money and I wasn't eating really like hot lunches, school lunches. I was eating food that my mom would make, or like from dinner, right? My mom would make chicken cutlets, and we have a dish called plov. It tends to smell because it has a lot of cumin and curry in it. And she would pack that for me for lunch with like rice and meat, and I loved it, right? But when I'm coming to school and kids are eating like bologna sandwiches and peanut butter and jelly, everyone's like, ew, what's that in your lunchbox? It smells, right? Yeah. But like, I loved it. And so for sure, I became very insecure about it. And all I wanted when I would come home, I said, Mom, I said, buy me Lunchables. Like, I want to have Lunchables. And she's like, that's not food. Like, that's not real food. Which now that I have kids, I understand, like crackers and bologna is not real food.
I could never eat bologna, ever. I would never even know how to eat it.
Yeah, but at the time I wanted to just feel included, you know? And then so when I got a little older, I started getting hot lunch, things like that. But I think I became very resilient to those reactions. And so as I got older, I started appreciating this food more. And because I didn't love all the food that I grew up eating when I was like little, but when I got older, I loved it a lot. And I remember when I first started social media, I think the first thing that I had posted was caviar because it's easily accessible to me because it's my grandfather's business. And I remember I was telling my husband, I was like, I really want to start posting caviar on TikTok because I want to show people how we eat it. Because if you did a general search back then, which I always say, you always either got videos or pictures of dishes in, on a Michelin restaurant or like caviar served on a yacht or on a private jet, like a very unattainable lifestyle.
Sure.
And at the end of the day, whichever way you slice it, caviar is fish eggs, right? It's not like supposed to be as fancy as it is because growing up, it wasn't supposed to be fancy. We just ate it because it was a good source of protein. There's so many amazing like vitamins and benefits to caviar. And we just ate it with bread and butter, like for breakfast. And that's it. But in the United States, there's a big fuss around it. You put a little bit on a blini with a little creme fraiche and everything's like, it's $1,000.
Yeah.
Right? So I was like, you know what? I want to show people that you can get caviar for $25. You can get caviar for $1,000. You can get caviar for $3,000. But I want to explain the price difference. I want to explain why something costs like what it is. And I want to explain the different flavor profiles. And I want people to understand that there's also different ways of eating caviar, not just how you see it at a fancy restaurant. You can have it at your own home. You don't have to get it just for like a celebratory moment. You can have it all year round and just celebrate life. Like,
I think you really were the woman on the internet to normalize caviar. And I didn't even realize that would ever be a thing. You probably didn't either.
No. I thought I was
Why'd you
get,
even get on TikTok? Like, what inspired you? Was it COVID?
No, I actually had a TikTok during COVID, but I never posted. I just watched. I watched like dances, recipes, like all of us, right?
Yeah.
But my husband and I met in 21, and we've been together for 5 years, married for 4.
Beautiful.
We met in 21, and he proposed 4.5 months later, and he was selling his house in California, Newport Beach, because I told him I didn't really want to live there, and I was on the East Coast. My life was on the East Coast, and he also wanted to change, so it just made sense. And when he was selling his house, at the time I was working for my grandfather's business. I was doing VP of brand partnerships.
Yeah.
And
so you were working within the family business at the time.
Yeah. So I was opening up, I was
it.
opening up the retail stores in New York, working on our restaurant Huso, which is now in Tribeca, and just like doing all the things. And really, I wore many hats. So when I say that I was doing brand partnerships, it's kind of doesn't really cover everything else because it's a small company.
Sure.
And we all kind of do a lot of different things, just kind of wherever what's necessary. But I was working there at the time, and I remember when my husband was selling his house in California, the time difference, I would end my workday early, so I had like all this time to do nothing. And my husband was working, so I started just recording recipes on TikTok for my friends. And again, I had like 5-10 friends on there, and I didn't know how to edit. I didn't know how to do anything.
Yeah, same.
Like,
when I started, I had no idea what I was doing.
Yeah, all my videos was just me. Like I put the phone down, which I still do it like that.
Yeah.
And you would see my hand go in and out from all the touching. I didn't know how to do anything.
Yeah, which is why people loved it.
Yeah, and then so it was just like very simple, like so my friends would engage. It was like it was so simple, like a tuna recipe, a salad, like nothing crazy. And I remember, I want to say 6-7 videos later, I was like, oh, I really like this one snack. And it was dates with cinnamon and peanut butter. And I remember I woke up the next day. At the time, the algorithm worked very differently, and you were able to see people who were blue check verified, who were liking your posts. Like, it was just different. You could see different like analytics on TikTok. And I woke up and I saw Hailey Bieber liked my video. And I was like, why does Hailey Bieber, how did she see my video? I didn't understand how the algorithm worked at the time. Because I was used to Instagram and like no visibility at all. And I was like, why did she like my video? I have 10 friends. And I remember she liked it, and that video got like 70,000 likes. And I was like, holy shit, this is like weird. So I posted like 2-3 more videos. He sold his house within a month. We went to New York, and I got my sandwich at Joe and the Juice. It was around the corner from me.
And you ended up doing a partnership with them.
It was never a partnership. I never got paid. I made $0.
What?
A lot of people don't know that. I made $0.
That's crazy.
Yeah. That's a whole other conversation. But anyway, so I always used to get a Joe and the Juice sandwich like once or twice a week because it was literally on the corner of where I used to live on the Upper East Side.
Yeah.
I got the sandwich, and I was like, guys, I really love this sandwich. This is like, it's so crunchy. It's good. I love tuna. I love capers. I put like hot sauce on it, whatever. Took a bite, posted it. Got 500,000 views. I got so scared. Off a sandwich. I got so scared. I was like, oh my God. My husband didn't know I had TikTok, by the way, during that time.
What?
Because I was only on there for a few months, and like, you know what, when you hear yourself like your voice like on the phone
Yeah.
and you feel so cringe about it.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't want him to see my TikTok, because like hearing myself talk and recording in front of someone else, I was uncomfortable at the time. It was very like unnatural to me. So anyway, I posted the video. It got like 500,000 views, and I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna delete TikTok, because people were having a discourse about me in the comments, not about like what I was showing, but about me.
Saying what?
Like just random stuff like, oh, what's wrong with her teeth, or why is her nose like this, or why is she like chewing like whatever it is. I don't know, whatever people want to point out, right?
Yep.
And I was like, that's not nice. I did not like that, right? Because I wasn't used to people so blatantly like talking shit to my face.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I posted one more video. That one got like 1 million views. And I was like, okay, I'm deleting TikTok this weekend. Like, this is not for me. Like, people are crazy.
Yeah.
And we were walking in Soho that weekend, and 2 girls came up to me and they're like, oh my God, you're Danielle from TikTok. Like, I love your videos, whatever. And my husband's like, you have a TikTok? And I'm like, maybe. We got home and I showed him my TikTok. I went to the other room. I was like, here, you can watch it.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I felt like invisible. I was like, I can't be around you when you're watching this. This is so cringe. Like, this is weird, you know? He watched the videos. He comes back. He's like, don't delete it. This is great. Like, you should continue. Like, who cares what people are saying about you? He's like, who cares? Like, you know who you are. I know who you are. Like, why do you care what some person on the internet has to say about you? And I honestly think that if it wasn't for him, like, pushing me to be confident, which, by the way, my husband got only on social media because of me, because I like pushed him to do it later, which is funny how that worked. But he was like, he's very private still. And he was very private at the time and just didn't, you know, want too much of a footprint online, just because he just didn't like it. Yeah. And I liked that about him. It was a very green flag for me, you know? There was like not much. There was like pictures on his Instagram, like 4 or 5 pictures from like, I don't know, 10 years ago when he went skiing with his family. Like,
if
whatever.
a man doesn't even know how to use social media, I'm like, great.
Like a picture of his nephews, like nothing out of the ordinary, you know?
Yeah.
And I thought it was a green flag. But anyway, fast forward, he's like, you should do it. Just continue, like post, have fun. Did I think I was going to make a career out of it? No, I didn't understand that you could make a career out of it. I didn't understand you can make money from social media. I didn't understand how it worked. I always thought that the reason that people who have millions of followers on TikTok or Instagram were only making money because it was through views. I assumed at the time that TikTok was just paying you for your views, like a YouTube. I didn't know anything about brand partnerships in that sense. I didn't know, you know, anything at all. It was just like a
I mean, you didn't come from that world at all.
No. And slowly but surely, it became my full-time job, and I'm very happy. It gives me a lot of flexibility with my kids. It gives me a lot of flexibility in my life. I can be present in certain areas of my life that I choose. You know, it shows me the world, different opportunities, and I feel secure that I'm able to do something on my own. And I always say, for women in general, whether it's a hobby, it doesn't have to be something that makes money, but whether it's a hobby or something that maybe one day, if you need to be able to use it to make money,
it's a tool.
You should always have that tool available, because you never know. Like, I always think, like, God forbid something happens to my husband tomorrow. I want to wake up and know that, like, I can pay the bills. Like, I can pay the bills. I got this. I can support my children. Like, we'll be okay.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
And not like feel frazzled and be like, oh my God, you know, how do I pay my bills? What's going on?
I mean, you know what my entire life's mission is: to make sure that women are emotionally, spiritually, and physically and financially within themselves, and husband or no husband.
Yeah.
I was married to an amazing guy, got divorced, and he went above and beyond helping me, and now the time is up.
But not everyone's like that, right?
But not everyone's like that.
Right, exactly.
Right. And even though he was like that, the time is still up on the help. So it's important to always have that nevertheless.
Yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree.
I think like in the Eastern European community, I notice a lot, there's a lot of women, I'm not necessarily saying my mom's friends, but just people like that I've observed growing up. A lot of women, you know, get married young, and it's such a fabulous life. A lot of their husbands are very wealthy. They're traveling, you know, everywhere around the world. They, you know, dress in the most amazing clothes, designer this, designer that. And then one day their husband either gets bored of them and they have a new wife, or their husband dies or something, and they don't know anything.
Or they get in trouble financially.
Correct. And they don't know anything. I'm just giving you like random scenarios, but they don't know anything. They don't know how to pay their bills. They don't know where their husband's assets are, or, you know, like it's just a mess. It just becomes a mess.
Yeah. Or there's someone like me who's always worked, but I was working, I was raising capital, I had a kid, I had dogs, and all the finances my ex-husband operated. And that was just very normal, especially in my household. And then when I had to learn how to do everything on my own, my best friend, who's also my lawyer, she got mad at me. She's like, how do you not know how to do this? This is embarrassing. And I said to her, have you raised a child? Have you raised capital? Have you helped a dying dog while having to look good, while having to entertain, while, you know, doing all these other things? I didn't really feel like I should also know how to do that.
Yeah.
but it ended up screwing me in the end.
Yeah.
Truly, like you need to know how to do
Yeah.
these things. There's a girl who actually shoots here. Her name's Rachel. She teaches women and men, but primarily a female audience, on how to use a credit card, just how to use credit cards, how to use points, essentially financial literacy. And I was like, most women, myself included, as embarrassing as it is, I didn't know any of this
Same.
stuff.
My husband taught me. I did not know.
I didn't know any of this stuff.
Same. When he was like, let's buy flights on points. We can do this on points, that on points. I'm like, where are the points?
I know about points,
Where are
but
the
how do you
points?
use? Yeah, it's financial literacy.
Yeah.
So I completely agree.
Yeah.
It's such a powerful, and it makes you feel really, really powerful
Yeah.
to know how to do these
Yeah.
things. Wow, that's so, even like just if two people hear this, to know that if you have a fabulous life,
Yeah.
if you like, I lived in Beverly Hills in the beautiful home, I had everything, but I didn't have the independence to know how to do these things to set myself up
Yeah.
properly. So you need to know the
Yeah.
basics.
And it's hard. Listen, it's harder for some women. I understand that, not everyone can afford childcare. Not everyone has time for themselves, right? There's I have a lot of friends who don't have time for themselves because they just don't have the help. They
They're
don't have
doing
the
the most,
financial,
for sure.
opportunity. But I commend them because a lot of them really take time to learn and educate themselves and, on the things that are important that one day can really benefit them. So
Yeah.
I just think it's important to just at least know what's going
And
on.
there's so much free advice out there too.
Yeah.
Like half the women who come in here that I know, they all give advice on different
Yeah.
sectors, and it really helps. So even if I grew up with a single mom, she didn't have time to barely brush her hair, but she figured out how to do the bare minimum to at least be independent and,
Yeah.
and know what's going on.
I'm going to give you a perfect example. My mom stopped working when I was 13, 14. She started doing real estate a few years ago. She's killing it.
Nice.
She's like number one at her firm. She's like outgrew the firm,
Yeah.
and she's like taking things into her own hands there. She's great. And it's like, it just goes to show you that, you can take such a big gap. You can take 20 years, but if you still have tools and you still have like education, and self-drive, which is really important.
Grit, yeah.
From before, whether it doesn't matter how long you've been out of the game, you can still always make a comeback.
What a cool story. I feel like she should come on.
She should.
She should inspire women because
should.
it's true.
Yeah. She gets very, what's the word? Shy when it comes to public speaking. And she
Yeah.
just did a panel for her real estate firm.
Yeah.
But because English is not her first language. And
Yeah.
so she doesn't have, her vernacular is not as large as ours. And she also has an accent. So she does get a little shy. But I always tell her, I'm like, Mom, who cares? Like,
Who cares?
we're all
Most
immigrants.
people
Like,
don't, yeah, and it makes it cool that you're not.
yeah.
Hebrew was my first language.
I didn't
My
know
mom
that.
didn't keep it in the house. Yeah. And I was embarrassed to speak Hebrew. So I learned English. She never kept it because it was a bad
Yeah.
divorce. And now I barely know anything. So,
Oh, I didn't know that.
yeah, being bilingual is the best.
But yeah, I think that's like the biggest takeaway is that it's never too late to make a comeback. I think a lot of women, get nervous. They're like, oh, I had a conversation recently with a friend and she's like, oh, I really want to have kids, but I'm not sure if it's like the right time. I'm like, girl, it's never the right
It's
time.
never the
you
right
never have enough
time.
money.
Yeah.
It's never the right time.
Yeah.
It's never, the house is never big enough. Like, you know,
It
what I
never
mean?
fixed. It's never
No.
finished.
And she's like, yeah, but if I have a baby, then like, I'm going to have to take time off. And then what, this, that, the third, I'm like, you can always make a comeback. Like,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
don't have to feel that just because, you want to start a family that you have to like pause or your life is somehow going to change like in such a way that you're never going to be, find yourself again. That's not true.
Beautiful. Great advice.
It's not true. Like,
not a lie.
So
What is, I love asking people's morning routines because I always take something from it that I find powerful. I have my son 50% of the time. So when I have him, obviously my morning's a lot more
Sure.
frantic, and he goes to school 30 minutes north in Pinecrest. So it's like, it's a whole thing. But when I don't have him, I really get into a beautiful flow. What do you do if it's consistent, if it's not, whatever? What have you done recently or in the past few years that has actually made a difference for you, morning or evening?
in the morning when we wake up, my son runs into our room. He always we have to do like a 10, 15-minute snuggle with me and my husband. And he is just at this point in life where he's just blabbering so many things. He like doesn't stop talking and it's great. So he always comes into our room. We like hang out. Then he goes to eat. And we have a nanny, so she helps us. So she does breakfast with him. She feeds him while I get dressed. Usually for me, what's really important is 9 times out of 10, I take him to school in the morning and then I go for a workout. That is very important for me, especially on my postpartum journey. It's something that not only helps me feel fit, like physically, but mentally, because it helps me with like anxiety. It helps me with control, like self-control, and not lashing out. When you have kids and when in the family life, you can sometimes feel like uncomfortable in certain moments because the day has just been very difficult, or my son's having a tantrum, and in order for me like not to snap, which is so normal for anyone, any
So
human being,
normal.
when you're like
Yeah.
under pressure. Working out really just helps me with the self-control, and it has made the biggest impact on my life, I think. I would say moving my body.
Yeah. I mean, it's
Yeah.
simple, but
It's
it's
a part
true.
of my morning routine. So I drop off my son and then I go for my workout. Sometimes if like, let's say today I'm filming with you, then I could go to my workout at an earlier time and my husband will drop off Liam.
Nice. Like a nice trade
Yeah.
off. Yeah. I find myself spending a lot of time with women in the fitness world because I just feel like their consciousness is so much clearer all the time because
Yeah.
they're really taking care of their vessel, their body. And it's just so motivating. Like they're always like, come on, let's go for a walk. Let's do
Yeah.
this. And it moves you to physically move. I find it's interesting. I was talking to this guy in New York and I don't know if you follow Gedalia Fenster.
Yeah, I told you my husband loves him. He teaches in Aventura in the mornings. Not teaches, he does his like
Do you
readings in the
listen to
morning.
his podcast?
Yeah, with my husband all the time.
Incredible.
Yeah.
He's such a talented teacher.
Amazing.
We always like go back and forth on concepts and thoughts, and he's just a really interesting
very
guy.
real.
Very real, super. He actually shoots here too. He's a really, really cool guy. And I was talking to this guy in New York, and he was like, well, you can't possibly be really spiritual, when you're worried about the gym and taking peptides. And I'm like, well, actually, spirituality and Kabbalah speaks often to respecting your vessel,
yeah.
and taking care of your body.
the woman is the vessel.
The woman is the vessel. So
right.
taking care of your body and going to the gym, it's not the vanity. It's sure looking good it's very important, but taking care of your body actually allows you to have clear consciousness
Yeah.
because it's mind, body, soul. And I just thought it was interesting, this thought process that someone couldn't possibly be spiritual or a thought leader in spirituality or religion if they don't look like a rabbi with like a long
Yeah.
beard that like is overweight and doesn't work out.
Yeah.
Just thought that was really
Yeah.
interesting.
That is interesting.
And I spend so much time with people in fitness that I can't imagine spending time with people that don't do those things, because I don't think that is connecting to yourself if you're not respecting yourself.
Correct.
So when when you're seeing you like postpartum, working, running a business, having kids, family business, all these things, you could easily not be doing that because you're too busy, but you really are prioritizing yourself. And it sounds so, some of the things I say, I'm like, wow, it sounds so simple, and it is, but I think it's actually really important for women to remember
Yeah.
that the most simple things are actually imperative. Working out is
I
actually
also want to
imperative.
say too, like I acknowledge my privilege and the fact that I'm able to have help at home. I think for a big part, there's a lot of women who don't have that option, right? Who don't
Sure.
have money for childcare. And I think about all the time because I'm like, a big part of the reason why I'm able to take care of myself is because I have that opportunity. And so it just always makes me feel bad, for the women that don't. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I grew up with a mother who had no help, no money.
Yeah, my mom didn't
and
have help
she would
either.
run, for 10 minutes a day alone.
Yeah, my mom didn't have help
we
either,
would be
so.
sitting, on the stairs, and she would run and
Yeah.
do. So there's a million for YouTubes.
Yeah.
When I was broke in college, I had zero money. I was meal prepping everything, even ramen noodles, and I would still find a YouTube
Yeah.
10-minute app.
It's all how do you utilize your resources, I guess, So
Yeah.
But what I wanted to revert back to working out is I don't want people to think that like I'm obsessed with working out and that I love it so much, because I don't. I love what it does for me.
Yeah,
I want to make that clear.
Yeah.
But I do think that it's very important that you do find a workout that you like and not just follow a fad because like everyone's going, or you see your favorite influencer going to this like one workout.
Sure.
It might not be for you. Like there's many workouts that I hate. Like I don't think like I like Pilates. Do I love it? No. I just think it's a good tune up for your body. I
Yeah.
think it's great for posture and alignment. It was an amazing tool for me after I gave birth because I had a C-section to help me strengthen my core. Do I like Pilates? No. Do I like yoga? Hate yoga.
Really?
Yeah, it's too much for like my thoughts. I need to like be somewhere where it's aggressive.
Yeah.
And I have no time to think about my day.
Anything else?
No,
Yeah.
But that's not for everyone.
No, it's
You
not.
know what I mean? So you have to find something that's like good for you. Even walking, just walking outside. I love walking.
I tell everyone when it comes to any advice, everyone is always seeing life through their lens and their perspective. And that's why it's really important to listen to everybody, but then listen to yourself.
Yeah.
I think women forget that it's called a woman's intuition, not a man's intuition. And that's why it's important to spend time alone, because the more time you spend by yourself, the more you can listen to your North Star and actually listen to what works for you. What works for me might not always work for you, and vice versa. So it's
Yeah.
important to listen to everyone.
Yeah.
And even influencers. Influencers are influencers because they're influencing you in some capacity. I find it to be actually really helpful because you get to learn from everyone,
Yeah.
and then take what you want to keep.
Yeah. I
Really.
just think for some people, though, it can get confusing because it's like, it's working for her. Why is it not working for me? But
Sure.
you need to be intuitively aligned with that and understand that, just it's because it's your favorite influencer. Again, it might not work for you, but not everyone's
100%.
like intuitively aligned.
Without a doubt.
So I think that's important.
When it comes to raising your kids,
Yeah.
which being a mom is the best,
The best.
what is something, I was talking to Vita about this yesterday because I was like, give me like, I am always trying to learn more and get tips, What's something that you're implementing within them spiritually that you find like the way you speak to them or like a routine? I think that's nice for other moms to hear.
So my husband and I are very big on making sure it's more with my son than my daughter because she's still too little.
Yeah.
She's 9 months. My son is going to be 3 in August. But always, sometimes he has a tendency to say like, I can't, like he's doing something. He's like, I can't do it. And my husband's like, you can do it. You can do it. So that's like a big thing. We always tell him you can do it no matter what.
Beautiful.
And we're just also implementing like a lot of, trying to start different traditions too at home and just making sure that our home feels very secure and safe for our kids. My son goes to a Jewish school, so he loves praying. He loves all the prayers. He loves the
Really?
holidays.
So cute.
He loves Shabbat. So we try every Friday if we're home, like if we're here, if we're not traveling, to do Shabbat at home. He loves to do Kiddush. So he has his own Kiddush cup. He has a grape juice. We always have challah. He loves to dip it in the salt.
Cute.
He knows everything and he loves it. And I think just having traditions and having like a time where we all wind down as a family and just like, this is the time that we're all going to be together. We're all going to sit together and giving him something to look forward to. He loves it. Like Friday comes around. I'm like, today's Shabbat. Cause he has no concept of time.
Of course.
So I have to tell him like, today's Shabbat. He's like, okay, mama, Kiddush, challah, salt.
Delish.
Like, and I, include him in doing everything. And again, we're not religious. We're very spiritual. I would say my husband is a little bit more religious than all of us in our family. And which is interesting because his dad grew up in an extremely religious household and his dad's not religious. His dad's extremely spiritual. I think you need to have a little bit of both, right? Yeah, my husband and I just really try to implement traditions and like safety and, reassurance that you have your family. I think that's a really big thing. My husband and I both grew up with parents and in a family where we always felt loved and we always felt, seen and heard. And I think
How nice that you two both had that and you both
Yeah.
found one another because that's not typical.
It's not typical. And in my family, there's divorces and things like that. My husband's parents have been together since day one. For me, it's a little bit different, but still, my mom always gave us a lot of love. She's very affectionate. My husband and I are extremely affectionate. His mom's very affectionate. I love my sister-in-law. I love my in-laws so much. And we're all very similar. And I think that's why our families are very close, which also is not typical, but we try to implement that with our children. We're
really inspiring.
overly affectionate.
I heard something once that I thought was really powerful in my studies, that having religion without spirituality was like having the foundation without the vessel. And then having spirituality without religion was like having the vessel without the foundation. And I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah.
Like what an interesting lens, because I don't consider myself very religious, but I like the concept of that's the foundation and having the vessel to receive more. I don't know. I just thought that was
Well, it's kind of
kind of a nice takeaway.
people who do bad things, right? Whether they're talking about let's say a Jewish person cheating in business, cheating on his family, and then going home doing Shabbat, being Shomer Shabbat,
Yeah.
praying. Okay, that's fine because I did all the things right. So it doesn't excuse everything else. But there's a lot of people who think that way.
Yeah, I
because
dated
they're
someone like
religious.
that. Yeah.
Because they're religious
Yeah.
and they cheat in all these aspects in their life that it's okay because once Friday comes around you can wipe that away. but
Wipe
doesn't
it
work like
clean.
that.
Yeah. Because
The
they are like, oh,
spirituality's
well,
not there.
God doesn't judge. Well, right. But that doesn't
Yeah.
you're bypassing.
Yeah.
It's essentially spiritually bypassing.
Yeah, exactly. So it doesn't work like
It's
that. So
quite
you need both.
fascinating, right? Because it can be used in such a way to weaponize.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very interesting. That's why spirituality is so important
Yeah.
because it's
Arguably more important.
I would agree.
Yeah.
I would agree. Take us through what you're working on next, what you're excited about.
I am working on something which I actually cannot talk about.
No, I hate that. I hate that.
Which we'll talk off screen, but
Yeah.
I can't really talk about that yet.
Yeah.
I'm just working on honestly now just figuring out where what I want to do and what I want to build a brand. I want to
You are a brand,
yeah, but I want to make an extension of it, right?
a physical product.
Yeah, I don't always want to, and it's something that's going to be very meaningful, something that's very particular to me. Nothing fake, nothing out of the ordinary. I'm not trying to reinvent anything that it's not already there, but just my point of view. Want to build something that has meaning for my children. I don't always, want to rely on social media and TikTok and making videos, which
For
is,
sure.
yeah, it's my bread and butter and I love it. And I think it's amazing. And, I encourage women, if you want to post And if you want to share your recipes, if you want to share whatever it is that you're passionate about, do it.
Just start.
Just
Just
start.
start.
Don't overthink it.
You
Don't
can
worry
be
about
like
your filming.
Danielle with the finger in
Literally.
and out. It doesn't have to be perfectly
Well, actually,
polished.
TikTok now is prioritizing less over edited videos than like high quality videos.
Forrest, are you hearing that? Did you hear it?
They're trying to go
This,
back.
I didn't know that.
They're trying to go back to
I didn't know that.
basics because they're realizing like over edited videos are just not performing as well because it's not real. People can't.
They can't see if it's
No,
AI.
They can't see if it's AI, but also they just can't. It's not like they can't resonate. It's different because this is a podcast, right? But if you're doing cooking videos and you're like in this like test kitchen and you have like
Sure.
this amazing like videography, it doesn't feel authentic.
It's interesting because my direct to camera videos that I actually shoot here, I like these thought-provoking moments that are short and tight, and like I like to just get straight to the messaging. But I also have been trying to include like things where I'm not just speaking here or on stage, where I'm like in the car and I'm like, this is how I use this mindset to evolve this area of my life.
Yeah.
And trying to do both, I find that both have worked for me. But yeah, I mean, some people ask me, they're like, are you AI? Because it's so like
Yeah.
your makeup's perfect, your hair's perfect, the
Yeah.
lighting is perfect. So I think it's nice to have the mix. Like I always tell my girlfriends that don't do in studio content, I think it's nice to have the mix of really, really organic, not perfect lighting, and then really professional because it also adds a layer of professionalism too.
Sure. Yeah.
But you're right. It's like the algorithm kind of sways.
Sure. And it's always changing, right?
Always.
But in general, like if you have a point of view about anything, I always say if you're passionate about microphones, just talk about it. Just go. Just do it. Like don't overthink it. Just
talk.
Put your phone up against something and record. And you will find your people. You always find your people.
always.
For me, I want to say like I've met so many people, and especially now that my husband and I opened up a coffee shop with our partner Sarah.
I can't wait to go. It's so freaking
Yes,
cute.
I have a lot of people who come in and like talk, and it's different. Like you don't realize the power of the internet until you see people face to face, like in real life, and people tell you that you've changed their life in many different ways.
For sure.
But what I want to say, like the overall, and I think why a lot of my videos worked and had a lot of success, and I'm sharing this for anyone who's watching who wants to start content creation, is that no matter what your financial status looks like in life, right? Like for me, a lot of people may think that like, first to some people they're, oh my God, she's so wealthy, she has this, she has that, whatever. And to other people who are wealthier than me, they're like, oh, she's not wealthy, like I'm whatever, you know? So there's always gonna be somebody who has more than you. But for me, I've always just been myself. You know, there's days where I record and I have zero makeup on. I just got out of the shower. I have a cold sore. Like, I don't care. This is who I am. I don't need to have like makeup all the time. I don't need to like cover up my blemishes. Like you have me 100%. And when I post videos like that, when I'm cooking and I look like a mess and I spilled something and I'm cutting and it's not perfect, whatever, people are like, oh, I'm just like her, or I can be just like her. Like there's nothing out of the ordinary. I'm not shooting in this like beautiful kitchen, you know, with like this beautiful lighting. It's just me in my home.
Yeah.
And I've done that since day one. And it's funny because I used to follow this. I still follow her, but I'm not going to say the name, but I used to be obsessed with this one cook. And I think that after, she was amazing. I loved all of her videos, especially during COVID. She was my favorite. And I think now that she made some money and, you know, everything now is over edited and like perfect. And she has this insane kitchen and it's just like overly glamorous.
It's too perfect.
Her videos aren't even performing nearly like they used to perform. And it's because she became too perfect, right? Mm-hmm. Like
It's
one's
funny,
like,
Valeria actually told me, she was like, you're so well spoken, but you're always elegant and you're always speaking on stage. And she was like, I'm so sick of seeing the videos like that. Like, do something when you're in your house. And she's really been pushing me because I used to do so much more of that.
Yeah.
But then I really wanted to be more on the professional speaking side because that's my gift.
yeah,
And now I'm kind of like, okay, how do I blend
which I
the
hate
two
public speaking.
together?
That's amazing. I can't believe like,
Yeah, I mean, if you're good at it, it's one of those things that you either can do it or you just don't like it at all. So I was trying to lean really heavily towards more of the professional side of it. And the same guy that manages Case Kenny and Jillian Tarecki, he was like, you know, you need to be seen like that. And da 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 da. And I'm like, but I love hair. I love makeup.
Yeah.
I love cleavage. I
Yeah.
love, you know, all these other things. And it's
Yeah.
like where's the beautiful balance? And I think the beautiful balance is the way of doing professional and also so authentic, so organic that the lighting is not perfect. It's slightly off. The audio's not that great. I mean, we were literally just talking about that here, how we wanted to shoot just something to help women understand like there's studios available where you can have like a more professional aspect. And I was like, oh, we'll just do direct to camera. And they're like, oh, that's actually like the talking. It's starting to feel like a talking head. Like, let's do something while we're talking and moving.
Yeah.
That feels more like in the flow in the moment. So yeah, I definitely think there's a time and place.
Yeah. And also just depends what kind of content you're doing. Like, what's the purpose, right? There's like so many different things. But in general, like I always tell people, like, don't overthink it, just do it.
Just do it.
And you never know, you might have so much success. There's
Yeah.
so many like moms, these like random moms that I follow. And, there's this one girl, she's like, they had no money. They were living off of EBT and like making food for her and her family using, things that she bought at the dollar store. And I was just so amazed with her creativity.
Beautiful.
And like people were bullying her online, obviously, because, they're like, oh, your kitchen's so old. It's disgusting. It's dirty. And I felt so bad for her.
Disgusting.
And I'm just like, now seeing her, she's like, I don't know, 800, 900,000 followers. And like, you can see how like the money she's made off social media has changed her life. They were able to move into a nicer apartment. She's now able to like, she's so grateful. She's like, I haven't been to Costco in years. Like I'm able to go into a Costco now, and like things that we take
I
for
want to
granted.
follow her. Who is she so I can support?
I'll tell you after her name.
I want to support.
But like just things like that, it's like, wow, we take those things for granted, like going to Costco.
Absolutely.
So it can change your life, social media, and it changed your life within like a year.
Literally just yelling at my best friend who's a lawyer. I'm like, just post anything. She's like, I don't know, I'm such a perfectionist. And she's putting on like, she's trying different things and all these, she's stunning and she's putting on filters. I'm like, just talk.
Oh, I'm like anti-filter.
Just talk.
She should give advice to women
I tell her that
all the time.
We were talking last night in bed. One of my girlfriends is going through a financial situation with a guy that she's separating from. And I'm like, women don't know this stuff. They don't know. You should talk about this.
She can make like a multi-part video where she can talk about like what certain things mean, right? Because there's like so much.
Yeah, Raquel, this is your
Yeah,
this is your moment to shine.
it.
I've been pushing her for 2 years. I was like, we got into a fight. I was like, I don't want to talk about this anymore. I was like, I can't even talk about this with you anymore.
I always say even just like certain words that you have no idea what they mean.
Yeah.
And just like, this is what this word means if you ever see it like in a document. This is this, like, or don't sign, or how about just tell women, don't sign anything until you read it. Even if you're married.
Yep.
My husband and I were talking about the other day because obviously there's been a lot of famous women who have gotten in trouble because of their husbands, right? Because their husbands are like, oh, just sign this. This is for, I don't know, health insurance. And you're like, okay, I trust my husband. I love him.
Yep.
But you're signing away God knows what. And then you go to jail because your husband's a criminal.
Read. Yeah, you didn't read
You didn't
anything.
read.
And I love men. I plan on being married to another man, but there have been many instances where men embarrass women when it comes to finances or it's pretty rough.
I mean, now we're lucky we can, if you don't know what you're reading, you just take a picture, put it into ChatGPT, it'll make it for you in, layman's terms. But Raquel can help us.
She can help us. Okay, so I know you said that you can't talk about the thing that's coming up, but where is...
I'm working. I don't know if it's going to work, but I'm working on it.
It's going to work. You're going to be fine. Where is your social media content going? Do you still plan on doing a lot of food stuff? Do you plan on focusing on the business? Because I really love your food content.
Thank you.
And I've seen a lot of women really in my personal life. I've had my own issues. Food was never one of them. I always grew up with a very healthy relationship with food. I think women like you have really normalized eating, which is crazy to me. Like I love, do you follow Courtney Cook?
I know her. I had bagels with her.
I'm obsessed
in
with
New York.
her.
We were in New York at the same time and we went to go have bagels together. I took her to my favorite shop.
Freaking hilarious because
she's the sweetest person, by the
the
way.
way she eats is how I was always like, I don't like big meals where it's like one thing.
Yeah.
I like, like, you know how like Israelis, there's always like a million sides and tuna and then chicken and then this. Like I like a million different options.
But that's how I grew up eating too.
But that's how we grew up eating. But everyone's always making fun. They're like, you don't like to sit and have one full meal. I'm like, no, I like eating all day.
I find it
and
very
she's
difficult.
like that. She's eating like a maj podge of things, but she's normalized just eating whatever the hell you want in a. I don't consider it to be chaotic, but people are like, this is chaotic. I'm like, not really.
I know. I love it.
It's just eating. She's so cute.
She is. And she's the nicest person. She's just as nice as she is and as sweet as she is on camera. She's like that.
I
off
can
camera.
imagine.
She's so sweet. She's so grateful for her success, which is amazing.
Beautiful.
She's not ruined by it. You know what I mean? She's not snobby by any means. She's the nicest person.
Beautiful.
Nicest person.
Do you see yourself kind of sticking down that path, which I'll be kind of bummed if you don't?
I love food. It's a big part of my life, which is funny. I'll give you a little backstory, but what I want to say is that food is not the problem and food is not the enemy. And I think a lot of women have a really bad relationship with food because they think like, oh, if I eat this pasta, I want to be up 5 pounds tomorrow, right? But that's not really how it works. I think that I always say this, I'm like, if you're stressing about what you're eating, it doesn't matter if it's a cucumber or a pasta, you're going to gain weight.
Facts.
Your
'Cause it's
cortisol levels are going to go
consciousness.
up.
It's your
Yeah,
consciousness.
yeah. But the stress is what kills you. The stress is what adds the weight on.
Correct.
Not what you're eating,
Yeah.
right? So I just want to say that that's like the most important thing. I've never been skinny. I've always been like in between, right? And I've always had to work at being in shape, like whatever that looks like to me, in my height, in my weight, in my body. And there has been times where I fluctuated. There's times where I was bigger and smaller. When I went to college, I had no structure with eating because I also wasn't cooking, and I developed a thyroid issue. And my mom, I remember, came to visit me like 6 months later, and she was like horrified when she saw me. She's like, what happened? Like I gained like 20, 30 pounds. But that's also because I wasn't eating home cooked meals. I was swiping the credit card, ordering lunch, dinner, breakfast, you name it. You know, bagels, pizza, like eating unhealthy. I was also partying and like drinking and like going to sleep at 4 o'clock in the morning, waking up at 8 to go to class, like doing all the things we
whole
did when
thing.
we were like 18,
Yeah.
19 years old, right? So I was living an unhealthy lifestyle, but it's also just like overeating and not taking care of myself. I grew up in an Eastern European household, right? And Eastern European women, as you know, Slavic women really love to take care of themselves. It's very important for them to be fit, to feel good, to have the best skin, the best hair. Like that is number
Love it.
one. And like growing up around you, whether it's your mom or like just our culture,
This is the way it is.
this is the way it is. You were taught to take care of yourself. You have to look beautiful. If you ever want to get married, you have to make sure that like your house is clean. I'm never going to forget, like, it's funny, like growing up, my American friends thought my mom was like insane, but like
I would love
anybody who
it.
has a Russian mom like
Yeah.
knows this is like normal.
I'd be like, you sign me up. My mom never wore makeup, didn't wear heels, lives in the woods, total opposite.
Like my mom would come in at like 14, 15 years old into my room and like whatever, I'd brush my hair and my hair was like all over the floor. She's like, do you think anyone's ever going to want to marry you with all this hair on the floor? And I was like, I don't care about getting married. Like I was not thinking about getting married at 15, you know?
Yeah.
Or like my mom was always so honest. And I remember anytime I would go out and I'd be like, Mom, like, well, how do I look? She'd be like, oh, like change that top. It doesn't like look good. Or like you have too much like makeup or like
Yeah.
your hair doesn't like brush your hair, whatever. And my friends were like, you let your mom talk to you like that? And I'm like, yeah, why? She's honest. Like, obviously you guys aren't telling me the truth, you know? So it's like, my mom was always
That's
so
so
honest.
great.
And my American friends were always just like so horrified, you know?
Yeah.
But I love it because
But it's
she
like,
was like-
someone's got to tell me what's up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what?
I'm
Growing
the
up
same
now-
way, and it gets me in trouble a lot. But you
like,
know,
growing up now, I'm so thankful because like I'm like clean. I have a clean home. You know, I care about, you know, when people are coming over my house, and even let's say even if I had like a cleaning lady come and clean, I'm still like cleaning on top of it because I'm like, oh my God, what are people going to think if like my shoes are out of place or if like
Yeah.
I don't put like the slippers like away, you know what I mean? Things
Yeah.
like that. So like that, like
your mom
maintenance-
sounds amazing. I love
She's
it.
great.
She sounds so funny.
the maintenance aspect of like yourself, your home, everything else is like was instilled from us in the Eastern European culture, yeah, since we were little. But what I wanted to say is about food is like we also, you know, my mom would always be like, don't like eat too much, you don't want to gain weight, or like there was times obviously that like when I was going through puberty, I gained weight. When I got my period, I got pimples, you know, and like my mom was always like trying to like, you know, watch what I'm eating and not give me too much this, too much that. But then you go to your grandma's house and she's like, eat, you know, eat.
Because they have the trauma of not having food. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Eat. But then again, then I go, you know, I come home, my mom's like, oh my God, like don't eat so much, whatever. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
always
yeah.
like this thing. So I never had like, I wouldn't say like I always had like the perfect relationship with food. I just kind of was always like, oh, should I like eat? I'm going to gain weight. My mom's going to tell me I gain weight, you know?
Yeah.
But you know, it just takes time. And like one day I was like, you know what? I realized it's not the food. I'm just so stressed all the time about like what I'm eating. But like,
Enough.
yeah,
Yeah.
when you're not stressed, it's fine. So people ask me all the time. They're like, oh, how do you like lose weight? I have to move my body. Really, the reality is if I'm not like moving my body and sweating,
Movement.
I'm not going to lose any weight.
Yeah. Kelsey was showing me, my girlfriend owns like this big fitness app.
I know her.
She's the best. I spend a lot of time with
Yeah.
her. And she was like, you have to check this out. This is insanity. And it's like videos on TikTok of women scrolling through other videos saying this is actually how you get fat, by lifting weights, by eating carbs. And it's like, it's arguably the
worst
craziest information I've ever seen in my life. If you live in the snow, you know you weigh too much if there's an imprint of your foot in the snow. And she gets served this content all day. She's in
Right, 'cause-
fitness. And she was like, But Liz, when we were growing up, all we had were these magazines and on TV constantly telling us low fat this, low fat that. I was like,
That's true.
we
We grew
couldn't
up in that
afford
era.
TV. I had one TV channel on my TV. So my mom, we didn't even see this stuff. I just didn't have that relationship with food in my house. And she reminded me most women did.
Yeah, it's true. I remember we grew up in like the sugar-free, low-fat. That's when it was like introduced.
Yeah.
Cheerios. Do
I
you remember
didn't
those
see any of
Cheerios
that.
or the Kellogg's diet? Do you remember that?
Yes, of
If
course.
you eat like 2 bowls of cereal a day for
Yeah.
lunch and no, for lunch and dinner, but breakfast you have like a normal breakfast, and you'll be skinny, right?
Because General Mills and all these companies that
Yeah.
were worth millions of dollars,
Yeah.
they were controlling the ads on TV at that time.
Yeah.
I grew up with no money. We didn't even have a TV. We had 3 stations maybe, and one of them was Steve Harvey. And ironically, I ended up doing his show, and I told him in LA, he used to drive me around on the golf cart while he smoked cigars. And I told him, I said, I never grew up with TV. We couldn't afford it. But your show was on my TV. And the fact that I'm here with you is so crazy to me. I don't even know why I'm here. Like, why am I here?
That's funny. That's funny.
And yeah,
It's a full circle moment for you.
I didn't get served all these crazy ass ads.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really insanity.
Yeah.
But General Mills, yeah, I mean, they were the biggest, the number one spender. So they could control the way we thought about food.
Yeah. And also, like, again, in our culture, women obsessed about weight.
Obsessed.
Obsessed.
Wait, speaking of which, ADD moment, what are your thoughts on peptides?
I don't really know enough about it, so I can't. I want to tell you though, the first time I ever did, I think it was called BPC something. I don't remember exactly the name.
It's like 1,000 letters.
Yeah, it was actually when my husband and I first started dating. I had a small surgery.
Yeah.
And he was the one who told me, he's like, you should get this peptide, because my husband had the year before he met me, he had a surgery on his arm, and he goes, it helped me heal really fast.
Yeah.
So I remember he got it for me through like a functional doctor or whatever that helped him. But like that was like the first time I was introduced to it, and it did help my recovery time, But I think like if it works for you, do it. I don't know.
Cool. I mean,
I don't
so
have
many
any,
women
like-
I know do it. It's completely changed my life.
I think some people, like anything, are going to overdo everything, right? Natural,
Correct.
right? Like some people overdo Ozempic, some people overdo peptides,
Yep.
diet pills, whatever it is. I just think, like, again, just because influencers or other people are showing you this content, it might not necessarily be the right peptide for you, right?
Correct.
Like it might not be the right supplement for you. It might not be this like the right, weight loss medication for you. But I think you really need to do blood work. You really need to like
I was just going to say,
talk
I
to a
think when it
professional.
comes to food, all of this, anything in this world, I run my
Yeah.
blood every 3 months with my nurse practitioner. And it's fun for me because I'm very like solution oriented and I'm very result driven. So the fact that you can check and mark and basically clock your blood,
Yeah.
I like that because it's like, we're getting older, we're in our 30s, and it's nice to know my mom has a thyroid issue and mine's starting to kind of act up a bit. So now I can gauge it and clock it, and it's fun for me. I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, this is interesting. Like, it's so correlated, in my opinion, to consciousness, food, all these things play such a big role in our lives.
Yeah.
And I don't think our parents really had the capability to really monitor their
But
health like this.
To be fair, also when you go to the doctor, they just do a very general blood work panel. They don't really like look in depth, right, and
Yeah.
tell you like anything.
Mold testing, none of that.
No. So I did Function Health. You know about
Yeah,
that? Yeah,
of
I
course.
did their
I
testing
haven't
twice.
done it yet.
Amazing. It can be pricey, but I think it's so worth it because you can add on things, right? Whatever you're worried about, whether you want to do like a food sensitivity test or you want to check for like certain cancers, Alzheimer's, like whatever it is, they have that available for you.
Nice.
And I did it and I learned so much about my health. I learned so much about my blood. I learned so much about the food that I'm eating. I'm sensitive to coffee, which I refuse to give up. If that's going to kill me,
Oh my
That's
God,
okay.
that's the only thing I'm addicted to. And shopping, arguably.
I have sensitivity to wine also, which makes sense. Like I don't really drink alcohol. I don't think a lot of people know that about me. Not
Yeah.
because like I have any substance abuse issues. I just don't really care about alcohol.
Yeah, I would assume with caviar, like a nice cab.
Yeah, but I
or
don't really care.
something.
Like I'm not like, oh, let's have it. Like very rarely will you hear me like say like, oh, I would like need a drink. Like
Wow,
maybe
okay.
like once every 5 years. I do love red wine, and I do love to like my husband and I sometimes on occasion we'll get like a really nice like vintage and we'll drink together.
Yeah.
But when I say drink, like I'll have like one glass and then
All my girlfriends who are foodies love a cocktail or a glass of wine.
See, I
Every
don't
foodie
really
I know.
care. No.
Interesting.
I love a Coca-Cola.
Okay, old school. That's like
Not a Diet
Israelis,
Coke.
Israelis with like all the thousands of salads, and then there's like 5 Cokes on the table, and you're just like, this is crazy. Like everything is like healthy, beautiful, and abundant, and
Yeah.
then it's like old school soft drinks.
If anyone's a Coke fan, it's me. I love it. It's like my
That's your thing.
Yeah, not a Diet Coke, a regular Coke with ice. Perfect. The best one is like at the movie theaters, like the fountain ones.
Yeah.
So good.
That is classic.
Yeah, not all Coke is made equal. So I am sensitive to wine, which makes sense because anytime I drink wine, my nose gets stuffy. Yeah.
Weird.
So makes sense. But
Yeah.
yeah, I just have like these like small sensitivities, but I learned a lot about my blood work. So like if I were to do a peptide, I have all this information
Same, yeah.
and like what I need to work on. I also did the
And
prenuval
also
scan.
when you same is incredible, but also I realized after I gave birth to my son, the most random, like my random moment, like yours is wine, red pepper, like the type like the roasted in the can.
Oh yeah. That's so weird.
So weird.
So weird.
So weird.
Very
And
weird.
I'm not allowed to eat it anymore.
So strange. But you never know. Your blood work
body
changes every
changes.
7 years. So
And
you
maybe
can check.
your issue now with wine didn't even exist 7 years ago. Who knows?
Yeah, I used to have a sensitivity, like I was slightly allergic to mint, but like I rechecked and I don't have that
This is
allergy
why
anymore.
women need to know what's going
Yeah.
on. Every area of their
Every
lives.
area.
Yeah.
But I did the prenuvo test, which I wish that it was available for people to use with like insurance, but it's not. It's out of pocket.
I know.
But it's
Best
wow.
investment ever.
Wow.
I tell everyone about Prenuvo. You would think that they pay me, which they should.
So great.
I tell everyone about this. It's a 2-hour scan. It is the coolest way to use technology. They scan you from your forehead to your freaking pinky toe.
I learned about like a lesion that I had and I got scared. They're like, no, after I spoke with the somebody who was working there when they go over the results with you, they're like, no, this lesion is like you were born with it and you can tell because by the size. I was like, that's so
That's
weird.
crazy.
That's crazy. Yeah, like in my liver or like just like these random things or like that I have like herniated disc in my neck, which makes sense because I have a lot of issues with my jaw.
Yeah.
My neck's always hurting and I do therapy, acupuncture, this, that. So it just makes sense, but it's a great tool. I just, again, I wish that like more people had access
I think
to
it will be in a few years.
I think so too, but
I think
it's
in like
great.
5 years. I believe it's 2,000 or 3,000, but they give payment. I did a long time ago a partnership with them, but wow, mind blown, mind blown. And they told me, I said, why is everyone not doing this? And they said, Liz, the front desk girl said, even my mom refuses to do this because she
husband
actually
won't
doesn't
do it.
want to know.
So I did a
don't
partnership
wanna
with them too 2 years ago, and I forced my mom to do it. She went and got it done, and like a few members in my family.
Yeah.
The reason that I even it was interesting because the week before, my husband and I met with a friend of ours, and he said that his wife and him went to do the test, and she found out that she just started developing a tumor for breast cancer. She went, took care of it, took the tumor out, like, and she's done. You know what I mean?
Seconds.
And which I was like, okay, I want to do it. And then the next week I got an email from Pernuva and they asked me if I wanted to come do it and if I would post. And I was like, you know what? Yes, I actually love to like know what's going on with my body.
Life-changing.
My husband, on the other hand, doesn't care.
This
He's just
drives
like-
me crazy.
he's just like,
This
whatever
one
happens,
over here.
happens.
I've been pushing him, do peptides, do this, because working like an animal, you need to know what's going on, and peptides help you heal faster, and all these things that have changed my life. I'm really pushy on these.
I'm actually going to see somebody soon about peptides because I have issues with my neck and I have an issue with my back, especially after my kids. And it really bothers me. And the amount of acupuncture and the amount of chiropractic like that I visited, it helps for like a day.
Yeah.
And then it's like back, So I need to see if there's like something I can do because I'm sure there's a peptide for that.
Yeah, I mean, I just think all these tools like social media can really help you move.
What's the difference between like the weight loss peptide and like an Ozempic, for example?
So what my nurse practitioner taught me was that even insulin's been around for 100 years, and that's technically a peptide. So what's interesting is all these peptides that are deemed new, they're actually not new. They just learned the modalities of how some can really heal you. For me, I actually notice a difference when I don't use NAD, which is exactly why she puts me on and off of it, because she doesn't want me to lean on it too much. But all these things that I'm taking, like a Sermolian, I should probably know how to pronounce this correctly. This helps me recover better and sleep better. There's just so many different avenues. Like it depends on your blood.
Yeah.
This is what I've learned. And I'm like, why is everyone not on this? I think it's really interesting. I think this is the future. Once women can heal their bodies and their consciousness, I was talking to Martha about this too. Birth control, antidepressants, Xanax, Adderall, all these things versus figuring out how to actually heal your body. Because once you can heal your body, no one can control you.
Yeah.
Once you can structure your
I
life.
have an interesting story for you because I think it's like we grew up in an era where there's medicine for everything, right? Because you want to mask, it's usually masking the problem,
the
not
pain.
really fixing it. And I grew up in a family where my mom was like, oh, you sneeze, antibiotics. You have a cough, antibiotics. And again, it's like the same thing with like the Clorox, you know, like I always say that story. It's like, that's just like the area that they grew up in. So like, it's very difficult for them to get out of that where
Yeah.
I'm like completely different. And sometimes my parents think I'm like insane, but it's okay.
I'm the same
They're,
way.
they're like, they're getting it.
Yeah.
But an interesting story is, and again, you need to talk to a professional about this. I just
Always.
want to make sure anyone who's
We are
listening.
not medical professionals.
I know. But when I gave birth to my daughter Estelle, I went to the doctor a week before I was due. And I just had such a great meeting with, you know, a brand. And I went to Chanel, bought myself some shoes. And then I had my appointment at the doctor at 2:00, like right before, a week before I was due. I walk into the doctor and he's like, "Are you feeling okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, why?" "Your blood pressure is like through the roof, like crazy." They're like, really bad. They're like, I was like, "I don't know. I just had a coffee. I was excited. I went to the shop, you know, whatever." Like, he's like, "Okay, sit here for an hour, just chill, you know, and we'll take your blood pressure again." Takes my blood pressure. It's even higher than before. He's like, "You have to go to the doctor to the hospital right now. It's down the street. Let them like check the baby, do a stress test, and then I'll be right there." I'm like, "Great." I call my husband. I'm like, "Oh, I think I'm going into labor. Like, you got to come over, whatever." My assistant Mia packed my bag. I called her.
Yay,
I was
Mia.
like,
Saving
yeah.
the day.
And I was so pissed because I was like, I had given birth to my son
Yeah.
a month early, but I was in the hospital for 2.5 weeks before that. And I was so mad because I was like, again, my hair is not washed. My nails are not done. I'm like, I have full face of makeup. I'm in jeans. Like, what the hell? You know, I was so pissed. I was like telling her on the phone. And I go to the hospital. They put me on a stress test and like just calm me down. They like gave me some like medicine, whatever, to make sure everything was okay. The baby's fine.
Yeah.
They're like, basically, you need to go home because they told me I have preeclampsia, like the last week of my.
Which is so, for anyone that's listening to this, that's actually
dangerous.
terrifying.
And it's dangerous
and
because
it's
it can kill
really
the mom.
rare. Yeah.
It can kill the mom. They're like, "You have preeclampsia, but we have no space today to give birth because the hospital's packed." So they're like, "Come back tomorrow morning at 7. I literally get in the car. I call my nail girl. Her and I are like friends. I was like, "You need to come over and do my nails right now." She came over, did my
I have
nails.
preeclampsia, but do my nails.
This is like so vain because I didn't know how long I was gonna be in the hospital, and my nails were so long, and I wanted to cut my nails off before I gave birth.
You wanted to feel good.
Yeah, like I wanted to cut my nails off before I gave birth.
Yeah.
And washed my hair, blow dried my hair, 7 a.m., ready to go at the hospital.
Yeah.
Give birth. They put me in a magnesium drip. I thought I was like drugged. And they're like talking to me at the hospital. Also, I had the craziest jitters from my epidural. I was like shaking and I couldn't
Same, and I was
control
freezing.
I was freezing, couldn't control my jaw. At one
For
point,
those that don't know what an epidural is, it's basically the drug that they inject into your spine to make the birthing process easier. But then you really can't feel anything.
you don't feel anything. Yeah.
Yeah.
I told my husband, I was like, "Give me a towel." I put a towel like in between my teeth because they were like, my teeth were like hitting each other.
Crazy.
Yeah, and I couldn't like control it. And they gave me a magnesium drip. I felt like I was drugged. And then they're like talking to me, asking me questions and like asking me to sign stuff. I'm like, no. I'm like, I don't even like know what planet I'm on. It was like the worst. The next day, I ended up having to stay in the hospital for 4 days. They put me on a blood pressure medication because my blood pressure was like really high. And I thought I had postpartum depression because I had this feeling of like, you know, when you're like really anxious and you start to feel hot.
Yeah,
and your hands are shaking.
Yeah.
Like I'm like getting clammy thinking about it because it just gave me like, scared me. I thought I was having postpartum depression because I didn't have postpartum depression with my son and I didn't know what I was feeling. And I was like, oh my God, I have postpartum depression. And I didn't want to tell my husband because I didn't want to freak him out. I was trying to like understand what was going on.
Sure.
Like internally. And I'm an internalizer. I like think about everything a million times before I speak. And I remember that night, I got so scared. I was like, "Do you guys mind taking the baby just for the night so I can get a few hours of sleep because I'm really tired?" But really I was freaking out. I was like, oh my God. I'm like, I don't want to be left alone with the baby. And the nurses were like, amazing. They're like, "Yeah, of course. We'll bring back the baby at 6 a.m. I'm like, perfect. Got myself to sleep. Woke up. I was fine. Again, they gave me the blood pressure medication. And like throughout the day, I'm feeling like I don't know. I was just terrified. We get home. Everything was okay. The next day at night, I go to the bathroom, 3 a.m. I wake up on the floor. My husband, mind you, I just had a C-section. My husband like runs over because I guess he heard me fall. It was so loud. And at the time we were living in an apartment and I fell like an inch away from our bathtub. It was like a big marble bathtub on the marble floor. And he's like, "Babe, are you okay? You okay?" And I was like, "I don't know what happened. I just probably got lightheaded or dizzy."
Right.
He picks me up off the floor. He's like, "I'm going to call 911. I was like, "No, it's fine. Don't worry." By the way, stupidest thing I could have said, do not ever, if you fall, do not ever go back to sleep. Ever. You don't know if like you have a concussion, God forbid.
Yeah,
like,
if you have a concussion, you don't
know. I obviously was just like, "No, don't worry. It's fine. Whatever."
Right.
3 or 4 hours later, I'm like, I have to go pee. He goes with me. I go to the bathroom and I was like, "Babe, I think I'm going to faint." I'm like lightheaded. He grabs me, I had a seizure. He calls Hatzalah. Hatzalah is just you know, Hatzalah,
best,
it's an
yeah.
ambulance. Yeah. So because I wanted them to take me to the hospital I wanted to go to.
I would never think to call Hatzalah first, which is
Yeah.
such a beautiful thing.
Well,
but
because
yeah.
they take you where you want to go, right?
Yep.
Whereas like 911 usually takes you to like the closest hospital.
Correct.
And I had my preeclampsia band on. So like when I would get to my hospital where I gave birth, I didn't have to like give them any info. They just scan my band and they already know like what's up.
Hatzalah is a Jewish organization that is an ambulance service that doesn't serve just Jewish people.
It serves everybody.
It serves everyone.
And it's free.
And in Israel, it's one of the most powerful because, oh man, it makes me so emotional because you see people from all walks of life
Yeah.
really come together.
Yeah. But it really helps. In the United States, it's the same. It's all people volunteering.
Yeah.
In the medical field, it's free and they just live off of like, they survive off of donations.
Yeah.
So you donate whatever you can. If you don't have money, you don't have to donate, right? But it's all volunteers.
Super powerful. And it's like
all,
the sweetest people
Yeah.
that like actually really care.
Yeah. And there's, you know, if you live in California, Texas, Miami, New York, I'm sure other places in the United States have it
Yeah.
also. You just have to like search it, but it's free.
Yeah.
So
and
anyone who's-
in Israel, you see women with like a hijab next to a girl and like
Yeah.
a tank top
yeah,
with like shorts on. It's
Yeah.
it's really cool.
it is. And, you know, for anyone who's watching who doesn't have money and ever, God forbid, has an accident and you don't want to go in the ambulance,
Yeah, you can always
Hatzalah.
call
They'll
Hatzalah,
help you.
Hatzalah,
They
yeah.
don't care.
I feel like they could use this for an ad.
Well, it's true. They don't care
It's
who
the
you are.
truth.
They don't care if you're Jewish.
They
or
don't
who you are.
care.
They don't care. They'll help you. So
Yeah.
that's the beautiful thing. But
It's really cool.
So I called Hatzalah because I didn't want. That's like a known thing in our family. We call Hatzalah because we don't want to go to like our designated hospital. We just don't like it. So
Yeah.
this is like a known thing.
I never even thought of that.
Yeah. So we call Hatzalah. They come. They take me, and you know, back again. We're like at the hospital. They're like they run all these scans. I ended up falling and like breaking my rib, which I didn't feel until like days later because it started hurting when I fell the first time. But my point of the story is, you know, it's a process of elimination. And they're like, oh, it's your blood pressure. Like this happens. People have preeclampsia. I didn't really know anything about it. They just kept giving me this medication. And I'm like, this medication. And I finally realized I had an aha moment. I was like, this medication is making me feel like shit. I don't have postpartum depression. I cannot tolerate this medicine, which is a very dangerous thing for me to say right now. And I know that like a lot of people rely on
But
it.
this
like,
was you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this
this
is
was
me.
your experience.
A lot of people rely on it, like my grandfather and my aunt, but they also told me, they're like, try to fix the problem. And my grandpa sat me down when I got home. He's like, try to fix the problem because I'm on it for my whole life now because I got it, like, I rely on it. And I'd never fixed the issue of what it was.
Wow.
And he was giving me tips like, you know, when you have blood pressure, like put your hands in hot water, like eat less salt, do this, this, and this. And I remember we have a woman, her name is Karina. She has a pharmacy in Sunny Isles. I'm like her biggest advocate. I love her so much. She's a plethora of knowledge. So if you ever want to go visit her, she's
You
awesome.
already know. I'm like, I moved here 8 months
Yeah.
ago. I need all your recs.
She has a place in Sunny Isles called Solution Mind and Body Pharmacy. And I called her because I get a lot of like natural stuff from her for like my kids. And for myself, like whenever I'm feeling, you know, I need like help with my immune system, whatever.
Yeah.
And I called her and she's like, listen, she's like, this is very risky for me to say to you. Just like, don't take the blood pressure medication because anytime I would take it, I would get like flushed in the face. I started
like,
shaking.
Yeah, shaking and
Like
anxiety.
I just felt lightheaded. Like it was
Yeah.
bad. Like I
Yeah.
did not like it. And she's like, this is what you're going to do. She like gave me this liquid potassium. She gave me iron and she gave me nanomagnesium, which I think was like the best thing she could have ever given me. She's like, take this nanomagnesium at night. In the morning, she told me how to do it. And to this day, I take the nanomagnesium. She really helped me. And my doctor was like a little bit in shock. He's like, this is just not what I would recommend because he has to say it as a medical professional. Like,
Yeah.
this is not what I would have recommended, you know, but
But it worked.
it worked. And, you know, it's great now. And I'm very thankful to her. But the nanomagnesium, because you mentioned magnesium before, has really changed my life. It's not the same as a regular magnesium because this one you can take also in the morning, you can take it at night, but it just really helps me with my nervous system. It helps me with sleep. It helps me with
So this
also,
is part of your routine.
yeah, it helps me control and it helps me with anxiety. It helps me with so many things, with healing, with muscle recovery, like you name it. The nanomagnesium is amazing, and you can also give it to kids. I give half a cap to my son every night before he goes to bed, and he sleeps better and he wakes up in a better mood. He doesn't have as many tantrums. Like,
So with that
amazing.
said, if you would give, because I like to wrap every podcast with tips, if you could give a woman who's 20 years old or 55 years old a tip, 3 things that have changed your life that could possibly help change hers, would nanomagnesium be one of them?
yes.
Okay, and what are the other 2?
Are we talking about health or are we talking about
Just what comes to you, like initially.
Just know, I think it's really important to be well versed on, if you're married or not even married, just well versed on like your finances, understanding, how, like you said, credit cards work. I never understood anything about credit. I didn't understand that credit runs your life. I didn't understand that you can't get a car without credit. You can't get a house without credit. You can't even rent something without credit, right? I didn't understand how that
Nanomagnesia, credit.
credit, knowing your credit, which actually they should teach that in school.
Don't even get me started.
And honestly, moving your body, because moving your body, right? If you're a single woman and you're not married or you're not actively having sex, it's literally, if you move your body, you get the same endorphins.
Beautiful.
And I think it's so important. Like when you move your body, even if you're walking for 5 minutes a day, it just does so much good for your body. It does so much good for your mind, for your soul. It's like that 5 to 10 minutes you have with yourself. It's just like, just so many good things for you.
Where can everyone find you?
You can find
Personally
me-
and professionally.
All of my accounts are like
The
personal
same,
and
same.
professional. Yeah. So
Same.
you can find me on Instagram. You can find me on TikTok if you want to see like fashion, beauty, and food and recipes. I also have a YouTube account. I post every Sunday. It's
Nice.
just vlogs if you want to get to know me a little bit better. Yeah, I have the same user name on all
And
accounts.
spell it
so
out for everyone.
It's DZASLAVSKY. That's it,
Amazing.
Dizaslavsky.
Thank you for
Yeah,
being
thank you
here.
for
This
having
was
me.
really fun. Thank
This
you.
was fun.
Thanks for being here, Mia. Mia never gets the credit. She's like, I'm always here.
She's my arms and legs.
Amazing. Thank you.
love
This
her.
was really, I feel like we could do this for 10 freaking hours.
I know we could.
It's the best.
We're yentas.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.